All right, I'd like to call this June 3rd meeting of the Measure G1 Committee to order. All right, Mr. Hollis, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair. On the roll call for the Measures G1 District-Wide Teacher Retention and Middle School Improvement Act Oversight Commission special meeting for June 3rd, 2025. Commissioner Mesa?
Present.
Secretary Chan?
Present.
Vice Chair Riley?
Present.
Chair Chun?
Present.
Quorum present.
Thank you. I'd like to move to bring the Commission General Consent Report to the floor. Do I have a motion?
A motion.
I second.
All right, motion is brought to the floor. Should we open this up for discussion now? If anyone needs any clarifying questions for any reports, anything that anyone want pulled?
Just for the record, the consent report is C.-1 and 2 on the agenda for today. It's Aspire Berkeley Maynard and Greenleaf Elementary School.
Do you have any questions or concerns? Anything to be pulled? No? All right then. Mr. Hollis, can we go ahead with a vote to approve?
Yes, Chair. For the record, there are no public commenters for this item. So on the motion to approve the general consent report consisting of Aspire Berkeley Maynard Academy application for 25-26 and Greenleaf Elementary School application for 25-26. On the motion, Commissioner Mesa?
Approve. Yay.
Yes. Secretary Chan?
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley?
Yay.
Chair Chun?
Approve.
Yay. But adopted.
Okay, adopted. All right, moving on to our unfinished business, section Ds 1 through, I believe, 6, is that it? 1 through 6, yes. Can I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
Motion.
If I may, Chair, the items at this point are voted on separately from the unfinished business items. I would start with D.-1.
All right, we'll proceed individually for D1, Urban Promise Academy. Would you need to, Commissioner Mesa, you need to?
So at this time, I need to recuse myself from this specific item.
Commissioner Mesa, could you state the reason for your recusal?
For a conflict of interest.
I mean, as far as what is the conflict of interest? There you go.
I currently work at this school site.
Okay. Yeah, that suffices. You can step outside of the room while they vote on this item. Thank you, Commissioner Mesa.
All right, could I have a motion to bring item 25-0913 to the floor?
I move.
I second.
All right, Mr. Hollis, is there any public comment on this item?
There are no public commenters for this item, Chair.
All right, can I have a motion, unless there are other questions, have a motion to approve?
Yes. So on the motion to approve Urban Promise Middle Academy for 25-26, Commissioner Mesa is recused. Secretary Chan?
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley?
Yay.
Chair Chun?
Approve.
Motion is approved.
All right, Mr. Hollis, can you bring Commissioner Mesa back in?
Commissioner Mesa back.
All right. Moving on, do I have a motion to bring the next item for Bret Harte Middle School, item 25-0885 to the floor?
I motion.
I second.
All right. Mr. Hollis, are there any public comments for this item?
There are no public comments for this item, Chair.
Do I have a motion to approve or any comments or questions?
Just can I ask why it was postponed until now? Said it was adopted conditionally, but we're voting on it now.
A couple meetings ago, Chair Chun had pointed out that there was some, I think, some inaccurate numbers on the attendance, and so we've since fixed those numbers.
There are no other questions. I have a motion to approve.
Yes, so on the motion to approve Bret Harte Middle School application for school year 25-26, and just for the record, the responses is yay, nay, absent, which you will be absent if you're gone, abstain from this particular item. So on the motion, Commissioner Mesa,
Yay.
Secretary Chan,
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley,
Yay.
Chair Chun.
Yay.
Item is approved.
Thank you for moving on. This is a proposal from Claremont Middle School, item 25-0886. Do I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
I move.
I second.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this, Mr. Hollis?
No, Chair.
All right, then can we proceed to the vote, please?
On the motion to approve the Claremont Middle School G1 application for 25-26, Commissioner Mesa,
Yay.
Secretary Chan,
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley,
Yay.
Chair Chun.
Yay.
Item is approved.
Thank you, sir. Moving on. Coliseum College Prep Academy, item 25-0887. Do I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Hollis, any public comment on this item?
No, Chair.
All right, then can we proceed to the vote, please?
On the motion to approve the Coliseum College Preparatory Academy G1 application for 25-26 school year, Commissioner Mesa,
Yay.
Secretary Chan,
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley,
Yay.
Chair Chun.
Yay.
Item is approved.
Moving along, next is Oakland Unity Middle School, item 25-0910. Do I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hollis. Any public comment for this item?
No public commenters, Chair.
All right, in that case, can we go to the vote?
Yes, Chair. On the motion to approve the Oakland Unity Middle School G1 application for 25-26 school year, Commissioner Mesa,
Yay.
Secretary Chan,
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley,
Yay.
Chair Chun.
Yay.
Item is approved.
Thank you. Last item on this list is Westlake Middle School, item 25-0947. Do I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Hollis, any public comment on this proposal?
No public comment for this item, Chair.
Can we proceed to vote, please?
On the motion to approve the Westlake Middle School G1 application for 25-26 school year, Commissioner Mesa,
Yay.
Secretary Chan,
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley,
Yay.
Chair Chun.
Yay.
Item is approved.
Thank you. Now moving on to new business, item 25-1310. This is not a voting item, so do we need to bring motion to the floor?
It's possible adoption, but you can discuss, it's discussion possible adoption.
Okay. Superintendent Hong, do you have any presentation for this, or?
This is the annual report.
Yes.
I mean, I can speak of it. There's not a presentation. I think there's probably an attachment that you all had taken a look at. So this is the first annual report that we've had in a number of years, and so I'm glad that we've brought it back, and it's actually legislatively required that this board creates this annual report. And so I'm glad that I was able to work with Karen Lozano to create this draft and then bring it to the board or bring it to this commission. And so it essentially captures all the information of how the funds were spent this year and gives some history of the Measure G1 parcel tax. And from here on out, we will continue to use this format to report out to the public how the funds have been used. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for your attention to it.
Thank you for providing the report. This is very illuminating. All the funds that were metered out to all the schools and how they've decided to implement those funds.
Yeah, can I ask a question about that? And you may not have the answer, just looking at the different categories and the allocations per category and seeing enrollment and retention as the lowest allocation, but it seems to be a big issue within the district. So do you know why schools aren't applying for more funds for that?
As we know, this parcel tax is designed for the sites to make their kind of local decisions. I think for many sites, they have prioritized those electives and also culture. I think that enrollment is important. I think, in a school's day-to-day, they feel if the culture's not working well, they just see it right then and there, as opposed to it being very, very visceral if kids aren't at school. Like, they see it, but it's not creating like a crisis on campus. So, which is, I think that's why they're funneling more towards the culture of the school. And also the hope is that if they're providing engaging electives, that more students will come to school. So I think they're trying to also address both of those issues.
All right. Are there any other questions?
I have a question in terms of the same different categories. Definitely, there's been more money that's been allocated to the art and to the music. Is there a reason why world languages is just harder to hire for world language teachers, or?
In my experience, that's true. It is harder to hire for world language classes, and also it appears that the art and music classes tend to be more engaging for students. And so I think learning a new language can be really hard unless you have a really good instructor who can really bring it to life. And so I think that's what the schools have experienced. But we want to continue to encourage them to provide these world languages as best we can.
Actually, I do have another question regarding the world language piece of it, because I noticed some middle schools already have language teachers, Spanish being one of them, but they're not coming out of G1 funds. So are the G1 funds meant to supplement the budget that these schools have to work with?
The way G1 funds work is if you've already paid for a certain position, you can't swap out that fund with G1. You can only add on top of that. Or if you lose funding for a year, then G1 can be used to rehire that teacher. So it's possible that many of those schools that already have those positions, they funded them a different way. And until they lose that funding and not have that position for a year, they wouldn't have access to G1 funds to pay for that.
And can I just add anecdotally, one of the schools I visited was Hillcrest, which is a K-8, but their middle school has G1 funds for their Spanish teacher, who's also like, I think, a kindergarten music teacher, which is two very different roles. But the school said that they wouldn't be able to fund her position in Spanish if they didn't have G1 funds. She would just have to do the elementary music. And from what I saw, the kids were very engaged in the class. She has been a teacher there, I think they said, for 10 years. And so it was, for me, it was a great observation.
So okay, continuing on this topic then. So I guess my question is loosely from your knowledge, because you don't have maybe the actual numbers, but would you say that the middle schools that are comprehensive middle schools or larger middle schools or have a certain demographic are the ones that have the world languages, and then the other schools that may have a different demographic are the ones that don't have the world languages?
I don't think that that's necessarily, that's not a pattern that I see. Yeah, it seems kind of random if a school decides that they want a world language as an elective versus not. Yeah.
There are no more questions. Can we proceed to adopting this report?
You can. I just want to also just make a mention that the annual reports from the commissions and the committees are usually reported out to the board at a regular meeting of the board. So, I mean, that's something that y'all can decide. Of course, it is usually the chair, but the chair can designate someone to report out that annual report to the board.
Thank you. So we could go ahead and vote to approve this then?
Needs to be a motion in a second.
I motion.
A second.
All right, can we go with the vote to approve then?
Yes, Chair. On the record, there are no public commenters for this item. So with that, on the motion to approve the annual report for fiscal year 23-24 for Measure G1, Commissioner Mesa,
Yay.
Secretary Chan,
Yay.
Vice Chair Riley,
Yay.
Chair Chun.
Yay.
Annual report is approved.
Thank you. Now moving on to the next item, the use of G1 surplus funds, unallocated funds, item 25-1311. Do I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
Motion.
If I may, this one wasn't a voting item, it was a discussion.
All right, so let's open it up for discussion. Superintendent Hong, this is a change in what the district has done previously with the surplus. Can you explain a little more?
Yes. So, so the way the Measure G1 funds have worked is we allocate, as you know, we allocate a certain amount to every school every year. And what happens is most schools spend most of their funds, and most schools actually leave just a little bit left that they weren't able to spend down to the very last dollar. And then for some schools, they actually leave a lot of money on the table. That money that hasn't been spent gets swept up and put into a surplus fund. And over time, that surplus had grown to, I think it says in this report, about $6.5 million. So several years ago, what we decided to do was to reallocate those funds every year back to the school sites in an additional grant. And so that was working for a while. And but this year, there has been a change that the central office and the business office and our network has decided on, and for two reasons. So essentially, the central office is deciding to spend the funds a certain way. So it could be put out to the sites, or it could also be spent centrally. So there's two reasons why the change in our philosophy. One is we're bound to board policy, and in the fall, our school board for the Oakland Unified School District, as a financial measure, passed a board resolution that said that all of the parcel taxes, including Measure G1, the surplus funds should be used to help pay down the enormous debt that we were in. And so that was one of the, maybe it was about 24 strategies to help address this shortfall that we were in. So Measure G1, I imagine Measure N, all these other parcel taxes, same thing. They're just sweeping up all of the surplus funds and using it to be more financially balanced in our district. The other reason is that this parcel tax is going to be up for renewal in, I think about 2 or 3 years. And what we want to do is bring this parcel tax back to the voters of Oakland. And there may be some adjustments to how we construct the Measure G1 parcel tax, but assuming that most of it stays the same for middle school electives, world languages, culture, et cetera, we want to be able to tell a story, like a compelling narrative. This is how we use the funds. Here were the positive benefits, the impacts of it for students. And right now, we probably could tell a story based on all the variety of things that have been spent. one of the strategies is to also tell a compelling kind of central story to say, here's a big chunk of funding and what we spent it on. So in addition to following board policy, instead of spending it on a disparate number of things, what we want to do is spend it on particularly coaching for our newer teachers. We have about 30% of teachers in Oakland Unified are new teachers. And in the spirit of hiring and attracting educators, which is also one of the 4 tenets of Measure G1, we believe that coaching is going to be a key strategy to make sure that they are able to do their best job as new teachers, and that this will be a good use of the funds to retain them. So those are the reasons why we've made this change, and I think they're going to have a good impact on our students in our district.
Are there any questions for Superintendent Holland?
So I'm curious, what was the district's process, I guess, with the administrators, because it does impact them in terms of they had grown somewhat accustomed to like carryover and expecting this, and so if this is no longer available, was there a process so they understood how it would affect them in terms of like how they were planning to use money in the future, or how they usually use money in the future?
No, well, I mean, I gave the site leaders a heads up that a change was coming, and I didn't necessarily know the details of what the business office would ultimately decide to do. And then so we didn't necessarily have a process that engaged the principals to talk about what the change would be, or have them weigh in on that. This was board policy, and so I think the business office basically was like, listen, we're gonna have to do this. And then so it was more of just following through with the board policy. But so no, we did not engage with the site leaders about this.
So how would you see this policy like impact or can you give us an example of how it impacts a school site if, like, say they had money, they were expecting this much, they didn't hire for this position, but they wanted to continue this position in the future, and now they wouldn't be able to necessarily do that?
Yeah, it is definitely a change, because the last 2 or 3 years, the sites would have been used to having a base allocation and then having this additional allocation. It wasn't nearly as much as the base allocation, but it definitely was a sizable chunk that they were to get additionally. And so they didn't see that this year. And so I did get comments on that to be like, oh, where's that other piece? And that's when I told them, yeah, we're gonna have to treat this differently. And so it is one of those things that it's a change, and it is, it's probably gonna feel like an abrupt change to some school sites. And it's one of those things in a year like this where there's just ups and downs with our finances. There's lots of decisions being made that I think in hindsight, having a better process and making sure that everyone knew the steps up to this point probably would have been better. So yeah, I think that's the situation that we're in. So they are gonna feel a lack of certain funds that they were used to having in the last couple of years. That's going to be part of the fallout for this year.
I believe earlier in the year you mentioned another change to the surplus, where instead of it going back to that specific school, it was going to be lumped together and shared out that way. So the board vote has superseded that original plan?
So that is related but different. Related in the sense of that change will prevent any surplus from happening at all. So essentially, this surplus that's unspent, that's just been sitting there, millions of dollars, has been terrible because the voters of Oakland have voted for this money to be used. So the sweeping up method will ensure that there just won't be money sitting there. We'll collect unused funds and then redistribute it every year. That way we don't have to deal with this problem in the future.
So this just has to do with what's already there.
That's right. That's right.
Will this training be focused on middle school teachers, or does it go into the general fund of teacher training?
It'll be focused on middle school teachers. Yeah, because what we're doing with it is hiring coaches that work specifically with middle school teachers.
And will they go directly to will they be on site, or is this something that they're doing pull out?
Both. They'll both be on site and also hold off-site trainings for teachers to come to.
And is this, so this board resolution, do you foresee, or is this kind of through the end of the measure? Like, so through like until 2028, or is this kind of a year by year? Or is that just a board dependent?
I think it's
change?
just for this year, saying that whatever surplus is held currently in these parcel taxes should be used to pay down this debt.
Then if like for the next school year, will that be a new resolution, or will this just stay this way until unless the board makes a change?
So for us, we won't have a surplus going into the future because of the sweeping up method, yeah. So I'm not sure how the other parcel taxes will function, but for us, it won't impact us because there just won't be any surplus, yeah.
For the coaches are going to be current OEA, TSA employees, or they're going to be consultants, or how is that? Who are the coaches?
They are current OUSD employees that one is an OEA member and the others are, what is their classification? They are, I think, what do they call those? Anyways, not represented. The other coaches are not represented. They are TSAs. Are they TSAs? They're not TSAs. The one is a TSA. The other three are, I forget what their classifications are, but they're not teachers on special assignment.
Will that, or when will that coaching start?
I mean, those positions usually start July, just a regular fiscal year from, July 1st to June 30th.
One more question, just thinking about the renewal in 2028, will this piece be kind of reported with the other highlights of G1 funds?
Yes, yes.
As far as providing the coaching, are school sites going to petition the district? Or I'm just curious how you're deciding amongst all of these middle schools where to send these new resources.
So we have we look at a lot of data. In fact, we just got the state testing data back this week. And so we look at where there's need, particularly where students are showing to not have made as much growth in certain subjects. And so we'll look at that data. We'll look at data of where students come into the school in 6th grade. Some schools, the students come in far behind other schools. And so we use that data to decide where the needs are and then deploy. Schools can also petition and ask if they feel like they need additional support.
Do you have any other questions? All right, Mr. Hollis, can we open it up? Are there any comments out?
There are no public comments
Public
for this
comments?
item,
No.
Chair.
Well, since this is not a voting item, thank you for the presentation. And I guess we can go ahead and adjourn for the year.
Can I make one comment before we adjourn?
Sure.
Okay. Have we spoken about your departure from our?
We have not spoken yet because we don't have, we have no elections lined up for this meeting, so.
Will this be your last meeting with us, though? Is that, or will he be with us another?
As far as I have seen, there's still one more year for Chun, unless there's something else that I don't know about.
Yeah, I've decided to not renew for this year, for the next year.
Oh, because it's 2-year terms. So, I mean, well, currently the term ends in 2026. So, I mean, if that's the case, then you would be resigning
I would
from
be resigning, yes.
after, as
This
of
year.
this meeting.
After
or-
this year, yes.
So June 30?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is our last meeting until June 30th, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to say some words about Chair Chun. Would this be an appropriate time, Corey?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for all the work you've done on this commission. It's been about 3 years now, 2 years, 3 years, yeah. And we've been through a lot of ups and downs on this commission, and we've done a lot of great work creating better systems that are streamlined and that are designed to hold us accountable as a district around these use of these funds. And so I just wanted to thank you for all the wise and thoughtful partnership that you've offered throughout these years. I think that one of the things that you all might know is that Chair Chun has children that have gone through Bret Hart, and also in the high schools at Skyline right now. And so I feel like Chair Chun is and his family have tirelessly committed to making our public schools better. You have a really nice balance of being positive, fiscally responsible, pragmatic, and supportive of the school's needs. And so thank you very much for bringing that mindset and that attitude and that energy to this work. Just really want to thank you for this partnership. It's been great having you.
Thank you very much. One of the reasons I'm resigning is because I think this commission is in a really good place now, as opposed to when I first got on, there's a lot of contentious battles, let's just say, and now everything seems very smooth. It seems like you and Ms. Lozano have really gotten things under control, and everything is tight now with all of the school sites. So there's very little for us now to actually review. Now it's just, oh, these proposals meet the standards of the measure, so I think it's in a good place. So, thank you very much. All right, and with that, I'd like to adjourn.